B is for belief, i.e. your belief system. What do you believe? Now, one thing we cannot assume here is that everybody listening is a Christian and that every Christian listening is on the same level. And what I mean by that, without going into the realm of being unequally yoked, what I mean by that is some people feel that somebody who goes to church is enough. That's enough. But going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in a garage makes you a car. It really doesn't. And so you need to decide for yourself what would be acceptable for you. And of course, and we're going to talk more about this in a further segment, but obviously, whatever it is that you're deciding would be acceptable for you, you do also need to point the finger at yourself and decide that if you're wanting an upstanding man who has a heart for God, is serving God, is making great strides in the kingdom for God, and you're not, then is that fair to want to have somebody who's at that level but you can't produce the same? So, I won't say any more on that. I think that's quite clear. But most people, most seminars that I do, most conferences that I do, when we ask the question is, what would you be looking for in a partner, in someone who you will potentially marry? At the very top is mostly, not always, but a high percentage of people will say he or she has to be a man or woman of God. And what I'm asking you is, what does that mean for you? I remember many, many years ago saying to God, forgive me for saying this, but please don't give me a pastor or a musician. Now, I've told that story many times and some people think, why? You shouldn't say that and you shouldn't declare that over your husband. Well, where I was coming from is I was single for much longer than I wanted to be. And in my selfish mindset at the time, all I could think about was what I had seen displayed, because I had worked for my pastoral team, worked very closely with them, so had insight into a lot of what a pastor has to do. A lot of people think they just preach on a Sunday and do the occasional hospital visit, but it's so much more. Excuse me. And so, having had that insight, I didn't want that for myself or my family, because I felt like I'd waited so long to no longer be single. I didn't then want to have to share my husband at, every phone call and off he goes because somebody is in need. Now, I'm just being real with you. Some people will say, well, how selfish. I'm just being real about what my thoughts were at the time. And a musician also fell into that category, because I saw musicians being pulled from pillar to post, having to play at this gig or play at that gig or lead worship here or lead a session there or lead a prayer meeting, and seeing people who were in relationships with these musicians feeling lonely and miserable. And I just thought, I've waited so long, God, don't send me somebody who isn't really going to be there. Now, there'll be mixed views about this. I mean, I'm just being real with you, because those who know me know that I keep it real. I'm being very real with you because at the end of the day, it's one thing to pray for something, but you need to have a full insight into what exactly you are praying for. Because some people, again, I'm going to keep it real. Some people want to marry a pastor because they want to be the first lady and they want to have that status, but they don't really know what comes with that. And so what I find, a perfect example for me, and I won't name names on here because I don't have permission to do so, but the perfect example for me of somebody who is the wife of a pastor is a lady who I've known for a number of years. I wouldn't say we're very close particularly, but she married somebody who then became a pastor, and she spends most of her time doing the tasks that nobody else wants to do. She isn't that woman that sits on the front row looking stunning. I mean, she is stunning, but she doesn't sit on the front row looking stunning. When her husband's preaching, she is running Sunday school, she's doing administration, she's emptying the bins, she's making sure people feel greeted. Think about this and think about what it is that you really want. And you can't always know, because God may transform you from the inside out and make you that person. but be very, very mindful. Probably better not to stipulate than to ask for the wrong thing, and when it's given to you, you're crumbling. So be very careful and understand what it is that you believe. So just saying he has to be a Christian or she has to be a Christian is really not enough. Be very clear, and we'll talk later on about having a vision actually for your relationship, for your marriage in the future. Because if you're not clear on what that is, you may need to search yourself and say, God, you know, leave it to him. God, you know me. You know who the person is going to be that I will be joined with. You know what I'm capable of and what I'm called for. You know my giftings. You know my heart. You know my abilities in certain areas. You find me the person that will be most suited to me, so that together we can serve you in the kingdom.